Democrats will control the Pennsylvania House. Heather Boyd beat her Republican opponent Katie Ford yesterday in that special election there. The legislator's seat was vacated after State Representative Mike Zabel resigned following allegations of sexual harassment. Boyd's win gives Democrats 102 seats, and that is the minimum needed to control the chamber. CBS News Pittsburgh's politics editor, Jon Delano, has been following this election for us. So, Jon, thanks for being here. Help us understand what this election means for control of Pennsylvania's state legislature.
Hey, Matt, Anna Marie, good to be with you guys. This is an important vote because it does give the Democrats a one-seat majority in the state House. But frankly, because the state Senate is still controlled by the Republican Party, even with a Democratic governor in Josh Shapiro, there's a stalemate in Harrisburg. This will allow the Democrats in the House to pursue their agenda so they can put bills on the table, and if they have their total majority, they can pass them. But the Senate will kill them, and the governor, even if the Republicans had control, a Democratic governor would kill it. So basically, we've got deadlock in Harrisburg once again. It's been the case really for the last 8 years because we've had a Democratic governor and a completely Republican-controlled state legislature. So more of the same, I suspect, although we will see, I think, Democratic agenda items like minimum wage, perhaps some abortion rules, others like that will be on the table.
Jon, I appreciate you giving everyone sort of a lay of the land, a snapshot of how Pennsylvania works, because we've been covering the mayoral race in Philadelphia for the primary, and we've been saying to people, chances are, if you're a Democrat and you win the primary, you're probably going to be the mayor. So yes, the cities, like in many states, lean Democratic, but when you look at the entire landscape of the state, right, you're going to see a lot of Republicans, and we've also been talking about these Republican-controlled state legislatures introducing, increasing restrictions on abortion. Weighing in on gun rights, election laws, and God knows there was a lot of coverage during the last election in Pennsylvania. So what does this stalemate mean for these hot button issues, abortion, gun rights, elections?
Well, let me tell you what the governor says, and you're right on. You're exactly right on. And Pennsylvania is always a battleground state, always an example of what is happening nationally. In Pennsylvania, the governor has said, the Democratic governor has said, look, Republicans, don't send me any of your nonsense stuff because it's not going to go anywhere. And the Republican leaders in the state Senate say to the Democrats, and particularly those in the House, don't send us any of your nonsense stuff. Let's look for things that we can agree on. And the governor is doing everything he can. Josh Shapiro is frankly spending more time with the Republicans than Democrats, I'm told. And the fact is that that's how he's going to accomplish things in Pennsylvania. He needs bipartisan agreement. And there are some issues, for example, reducing business taxes. Shapiro supports that. So do many Republicans and some Democrats. I think they can make an effort on that. I think raising the minimum wage. Pennsylvania is the only state, they're surrounded by other states that have raised their minimum wage. Pennsylvania is still stuck at 7.25. Even Republicans say we can find agreement on this. So there will be some issues, but the hot button issues are not going to play in Harrisburg this year. And the other interesting thing that occurred on Election Day on Tuesday, you mentioned Philadelphia mayor's race versus what happened in Allegheny County, which is greater Pittsburgh. Philadelphia really the Democrats nominated a moderate woman to be the next mayor of Philadelphia. In Allegheny County, greater Pittsburgh, the Democrats nominated a Bernie Sanders-endorsed progressive woman to be the next county executive. And this is really kind of weird because we think of Philadelphia as the strong liberal part of the state and Western Pennsylvania as the conservative part of the state. But it was topsy-turvy this week, where the Democrats out west picked a very liberal progressive woman, and the Democrats back east picked a very moderate pro-police woman to be their next mayor. Very, very, very unusual.
Well, Jon, it's all about crime, and that's what got the vote. The people who did vote in Philadelphia, that's what got them, heading to the polls.
Yeah, it's a lot of flip-flopping, as you said. You never know which way voters are going to go and which way an election's going to go. So you mentioned Josh Shapiro, the Democrat governor, and how he's going to try and work with both sides. You hear that from politicians all the time. We're going to work together. We're going to work together. Doesn't always work that way. But given that Republicans still have the majority in the state Senate, do you really think that that's going to be a winning mantra for him, and if will it actually work?
Well, you know, Josh Shapiro has been sort of an everybody's person. That is, he has ties to liberals, to moderates, to conservatives. He won very big, and he is working very hard to win Republican support on issues that Republicans will go along with him on. Josh Shapiro is, frankly, an aspiring politician who wants to go well beyond Harrisburg. To do that, he must show results. And he doesn't have the luxury of a legislature like Florida has that will do whatever Ron DeSantis wants. Shapiro has to cut deals. He has to make arrangements with the Republicans as well as the Democrats to make things happen. And I have every reason to believe that he is going to do that. There are a number of issues on which I think, and I've cited some of them, that I think he can find some common ground, beginning with reducing some taxes. And that would be a great accomplishment for any governor to come out of a bipartisan legislature with. So stay tuned. I have high expectations. I think the public has high expectations for Josh Shapiro, and I think he's working hard on this stuff.
Boy, Jon, you make boring old Pennsylvania politics sound so much more interesting. Thank you so much.
Well, it's always good to be with you. And you know, the state is just an amazing state. I lived at both ends of the state, so I understand it pretty well. And there's no real way to categorize Pennsylvania except to say, boy, is it interesting.
There you go.
I love that. Thank you, Jon.
Thank you.